Hello, my name is McKenzieG, and I'm going to talk about what I learned in Health Science 410. For starters, I would like to talk about the elderly versus the youth. At the beginning of the semester, we watched a video about an autopsy, and it began by showing the differences between a elderly woman and as well as a youthful woman. And it was really interesting to see just the physical changes of them of the two, as well as then during the actual autopsy, looking at the different organs of the body and how they change with age. It was also interesting being part of the changes in body presentation that I did with my group. We were looking at all the different organ systems and how they are influenced as we age. And it was really cool because what you notice is that even though our bodies do deteriorate with age, a lot of that comes from how we act now and the things that we do to our body now as a youth and how that impacts us in the future. Alzheimer's was another big thing that we talked about in class. I remember we watched a video. What was kind of interesting was just how so many of the elderly with Alzheimer's felt a loss of independence. They were no longer able to drive. They couldn't go where they wanted when they wanted. They needed people to check in and take care of them a lot more. And that was hard for the person with Alzheimer's because they felt stressed and like they were no longer in control of their life. It was also really hard for their families and loved ones who now had to take care of this person and provide for them in ways that they hadn't been used to doing. What's also interesting about Alzheimer's is just the finances of it. Uh, what's interesting is that $203 billion is spent annually for care and research, and though it's important that we are treating and caring for Alzheimer's, but the big thing is we need to be looking towards prevention and a cure for Alzheimer's. Without that, I mean, we're just going to continue to spend billions and billions of dollars on this one disease alone rather than allocating our resources elsewhere. What was also interesting was Dr. Fernandez's presentation on interior architecture and how that influences people with Alzheimer's. As you can see in the photo on this slide, it's kind of interesting how the doors are painted a different color, which is really great to show the differences between the hallway itself and their room. But one of the problems with this is that the doors are all the same color, which could also cause confusion for a person with Alzheimer's. Instead, it would be really helpful for them to be different colors to help differentiate one's room from another's. And while we're on the topic of nursing homes, that was another really interesting thing that we learned about during class. I was unaware of the different facilities that are provided and optional beyond nursing homes, whether it be skilled nursing facilities and just other long-term care facilities and the different services that they provide. It's really interesting that you might have to pay for someone to provide you with a shower or to feed you, even when those are things that we do on a daily basis and we don't really think about charging to do those. It was also, with our paper, it was really helpful to look at what are some of the benefits and disadvantages of the different long-term care facilities as well as the finances of it. It's definitely expensive no matter which way you do, but it's where are you willing to make those sacrifices in order for the services to be worthwhile. Next, what I learned was a lot from the interview that we did with an elderly person. I interviewed my grandmother, as you can see in the photo here, and it was really nice just to kind of have those open-ended questions in which we could look at different aspects of their life, whether it be, what are some of the impacts that came from aging, what are their past experiences, and just kind of what is their point of view and where are they at currently in life. Just reflecting back on it, what's really great is that my grandmother, she is 72, so she's getting up there in age, but she definitely had a very positive outlook on life, and I think that's what's allowed her to remain so healthy and youthful and excited, despite her physical, biological age. It was also really great for her just to hear the advice that she has after being through, so many different things. She's sitting there saying, you need to do this, you need to do that. And it was really helpful and inspiring just to hear everything based off of her own personal life experience. Another big thing was the family conflict. Recognize, why is it important to understand, and then just the different ways in which you can handle family conflict. These were just 4 examples. There are many other different ways in which you can handle family conflicts, and the biggest thing is just make sure you remain professional in all that you do, and engage the family and try to help them get through these trying times because they're under pressure and stress just as much as the family member or loved one who is currently receiving care. The last thing I want to talk about is ethnic differences. What's really important is to recognize that our actions are not appropriate across all cultures. Everyone is different and everyone sees different actions meaning different things. And so we need to be aware and educate ourselves on what those differences are. But we also need to see the value in these differences and recognize that just because we are different isn't a bad thing. There's actually a lot more that we can gain from these differences and ability to think beyond our own cultural preferences and norms. So then how am I going to apply this knowledge? Definitely there's a way in which I interact with the elderly. You want to make sure that you're being professional and polite at all times. You want to recognize the cultural differences and how that's going to impact the ways in which you interact with them. You also want to make sure you're very respectful of them, even if they are, with Alzheimer's or some other form of dementia. They're still intelligent and valuable people, and you should just remember ultimately that you need to make sure you're treating them as you would want your grandparents to be treated. Without that, it's really easy for us to lose track of how we see the elderly. And then lastly, these are just my 4 main keys to success from this class. Respect, understanding, make sure you're not judging people, and then just the ability to be able to learn different technology and use different resources. If I can take away these 4 keys, I definitely think I can be very successful and successfully show what I've learned from this class. I want to thank you for watching this presentation and for all that you have taught me in this class. I hope you all found this very useful. Thank you.